I think you all know who I am, but I'm Leigh Dworkin, Chairman of the Society. And first of all, I'd like to welcome you all. I'd just like to go through the agenda. So today we have a number of things for you. Dr. Nick Evans will start us off with a talk on Jewish migration. Then we'll ask Jeanette Rosenberg at the back to come and talk about her genealogical toolbox. Lunch. We do have some lunch for you at 12:30. We do ask you to make it back for about 1:30, and then Saul Marks, who's a Jewish air hunter, will tell us about his musings on Jewish air hunting. Next, we have Rachel Montague talking about documents of the Spanish and Portuguese Sephardi community. Tea, 3:15. And finally, we have Errol Gross talking about researching Rebecca. And then just to finish it off, I will give a final message. So I'd like to tell you a few things, a few announcements that I have today. Some are news of things coming up. For example, did you know that on Sunday, the 12th of May, 2019, is our next Manchester conference? And Errol, who's one of the speakers, is on the Manchester committee, so I'm certainly going to be there. Feel free to join me and the rest of our very strong Manchester group for their conference. Other announcement, this one's for Jeanette. We are selling DNA test kits at the back. If you would like to be DNA tested, please note that you mustn't have eaten for 1 hour before you take the test. Otherwise, if, for example, you have a chicken sandwich, you will actually get the DNA of the chicken. So I prefer human family history myself. There is a special price of £65 for the Family Finder version, but all the other tests are available for different prices as well. So there's a little bit of news. Moving on, another bit of news. We now have a patron. Very smart gentleman. Robert Voss, he is the Lord Lieutenant of Hertfordshire, actually the only Jewish Lord Lieutenant right now, and he came to talk to us at the Chilterns meeting and delighted us, and hopefully we delighted him with our questions, and immediately after that meeting, Daniel and I just thought, it is absolutely obvious we should ask Robert to become our society patron, our first and only patron, and very delighted that he'd accepted. He's accepted, and I'd like him to come on stage and just say a few words to us right now, if that's okay. Robert Voss.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I don't look like that. It's not really me, actually. But firstly, I'd like to say it's a great honour to be your patron. I'm very interested in Jewish genealogy, and I'll tell you why in a second. But a lot of people ask how I became Lord Lieutenant. I can see a few people nodding. It's an unusual process. My predecessor, who was the Countess of Verulam, decided to retire, which is very unusual. Most Lord Lieutenants go on until they're 75 or drop dead beforehand. And when she did, she sought the Queen's permission, and the Queen eventually gave it to her because I think she's the first person ever to retire in office. And then 3 people have to be chosen by the head of the Honours Committee of the Cabinet and also the head of the Privy Council, who travel around the county talking to all the good and great, asking who would make a suitable Lord Lieutenant. They sat down in front of me and asked me for my suggestions. And he then looked at me and he said to me, "What about you?" And after laughing my head off, I said, "Don't be ridiculous." I said, "I'm not aristocracy. I'm a businessman, and worst of all, I'm Jewish." And he looked me straight in the eye and he went, "Perfect." And my name was then put forward to the Prime Minister along with two others who were aristocrats. And much to my surprise, the Prime Minister wrote to me and said, could she put my name forward to Her Majesty, who then wrote to me and said, you are now appointed. I am the first and only Jewish Lord Lieutenant, except for Lord Rothschild in 1885, who did it as a favour to the King at the time. My interest in Jewish genealogy, those of you may have seen a film on BBC called British Jews, German Passports, which basically I was invited to have my story told. My parents both escaped Nazi Germany. My father, very late in mid-39, left his parents and brother behind. His parents perished in Sobibor, but I knew absolutely nothing at all. My father never, ever spoke about his life in Germany. He died, unfortunately, age 50, and as did his sister. So we knew nothing. So it was a fascinating, fascinating trip. We spent 4 days in Germany with the BBC, and I learned a huge amount, including where my grandparents had perished, because we didn't know they perished in Sobibor. So it was an amazing journey, and since then, I've continued further investigations with the help of the Wiener Library and others. So this is very much at the bottom of my heart, at the top of my heart, should I say, very much something of great importance, and I know that it is something that is growing dramatically. The rest of my family are also very involved and very interested. So I can only thank you for inviting me to be your patron. It's something that's very special to me, and something I cherish and am very proud of. And I hope that I can continue to, should I say, promote the very good work that you're doing, not only amongst the Jewish community, but outside. One of the panels I have set up, I have 57 deputies under me, and one of the panels I've set up is the interfaith panel. And to me, it's possibly the most important panel we have. And obviously, the fact that I was chosen proves that not only the government, but also the Queen value diversity, and I think that's vitally important today. So the work that you are doing and spreading amongst other communities, I think, is absolutely vital. So thank you for inviting me. It's something I cherish, and I hope I can serve you well. Thank you.